Hello, this is a backend repository where I am going to explain about the most important file that is in SRC folder and everything that is working in backend is just because agent.py. This is the main file of backend. The first section imports and initial setup. This section import all the necessary libraries and modules. Okay, this section. Okay, this section imports all necessary libraries and modules. Okay, and I'm going to explain each and every line of code. Okay, this import async IO. Import the async IO library for handling asynchronous operations which are essential for real-time communication, and this import logging library to output information message and error for debugging. Okay, and now come to typing hints. The typing hints to make the code more readable and maintainable. Okay, now this is date and time delta. Import date time and time data to handle data and time calculation for appointment scheduling. As you know that my CareSetu agent is also able to book an appointment for their patient. Now come to this part. Imports core components from the LiveKit agent SDK software development kit, and this plugin from LiveKit plugin. This import pre-built plugin for various services like AsseblyAI speech to text, Google for LLM and text to speech, 11 Labs for text to speech, CareSetu for text to speech, and CareSetu for voice activity detection. This is for voice activity detection. Okay. Now come to import this and OS to manage system path, allowing the script to be run from different directories. Okay. Now this dynamically add the dynamically add the parent directly to the system path. This allows the script to find its custom modules like config, whether it's run from the root directory or the SRC directory. Okay, and this block attempt to import custom local modules. It uses a try except block to handle different execution environment. Okay, this, and I'm going to explain about this part. In this part, but when the script is run directly from the source directories. Okay, or this is a fallback for when the script is run from the project's root directory. Okay, now come to this part. This is most important and machine learning part that make my CareSetu agent unique. Okay, imports our custom built module for knowledge base, RAG engine, and Google Calendar integration. Okay, this configure the basic login setting for the application, and level logging info means it will show all informational message, warning, and error. Okay, and this data logger instance for this specific file. Okay, so from here to here, this is just importing of different modules. Okay, now come to the main part. Class. This class. Okay, this class defines the blueprint for our AI voice agent, CareSetu agent. The this class validate that the configuration file env has been loaded correctly or not. Okay, then raise error if the configuration are not loaded. Okay, then initialize speech to text with business optimization, and initializes a speech to text component using a helper function. Okay. If AsseblyAI, that is the most critical important part of our CareSetu agent, AsseblyAI speech to text initialized with business word boost. log a success message to the console. And now come to this part. Initialize the large language model LLM, which is the brain of our agent. We are using a Google Gemini. Here we use Google Gemini. Specify which Gemini model to I am using. As we can see that the Flash is fast and cost effective. That's why I am using Gemini Flash. And passes the API key from our configuration file. Set the creativity of the models as 0.7 is a good balance for professional conversation. And log a success message. Okay. Then I initialize the text-to-speech component using a dedicated helper method. This method, I'm talking about this. Initialize the text-to-speech component using a dedicated helper method. This method has built-in callback for reliability. And then log a success message. Okay. Then initialize the retrieval augmented generation tag component, knowledge base, and search engine. Okay. Initializes the retrieval augmented generation component. Initializes the Google Calendar integration for booking appointment, and then initializes a placeholder for future context manager. Context manager for this, and then initializes the engine that allows the agent to learn from conversation. Create the initial business context for our system prompt for the LLM. Business context. This is the most important step. Initializing the parent agent class with all our components. This is the system prompt. It tells the LLM its personality, capability, and rules. Instruction for the LLM, and provide the initial chat context including the system prompt. This is all the instruction to the prompt. Sorry, for LLM, and passes our initializes speech to text, LLM, and text to speech. This I'm talking about this. Okay, then initializes voice activity detection (VAD), and how long a speech must be to be considered a speech in second is 0.1. How long for silence indicates user is done talking is 0.5. This allows the user to interrupt the agent while it's speaking, making the conversation more natural. And this part, this allows the user to interrupt the agent. Sorry, store some component on the self object for later use within the class. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about if business voice agent with RAG and appointment booking capability is successful, then we get this message in our console. Okay, now come to the initialize RAG component. These methods are called by init to keep the constructor clean and organized. Use a try except block to gracefully handle any error during initialization. Okay, this try block initializes the knowledge base, which loads data from JSON and PDF file, and then initializes the RAG engine, which uses the knowledge base to find answer. Okay, if an error occur, try and accept. If an error occur, log it and set the component to none so the app doesn't crash. Okay, now come to the calendar part. Also in this, use a try except block for robust error handling. Create instance of our custom Google's calendar integration class. If it fail, log the error and set none. Okay. Now come to the TTS, text to speech. This part. First, try to initialize RTCS or TTS, which is fast and high quality. Okay. If RTCS fail, accept none. If RTCS fail, log a warning, move to fallback. The fallback is Google TTS. If the primary TTS that is RTCS fail to initialize, try Google TTS. Google TTS is simple to initialize and very reliable, so we use Google TTS. If Google TTS also fails, log a warning. Last resort TTS 11 AM, but it is not initialized. If both Curtis and Google fail, try 11 as a final option, but I am not integrated. Okay. Now come to final check. If all TTS services fail to initialize, raise an error to stop the application. Now this is the main system prompt that defines the agent's behavior. Okay. System prompts. You are professionally CareSetu healthcare voice assistant. That is CareSetu, a new chat context object from the live Kit SDK. Add the system prompt to the context. This message is always present in the conversation history. Return the fully prepared context object. Okay. Now come to the calendar integration part. This method handle all the interaction related to scheduling. Yes. Convert the user message to lowercase for case sensitivity and define a list of keywords related to scheduling and return true if any of the keywords are found in the message, otherwise false. The first check if the calendar integration was initialized successfully, then convert message to lowercase for keyword matching and use the try except block to catch any error during scheduling. If the user is asking for availability, call the availability handler. If the user wants to book an appointment, call the booking handler. If the user wants to cancel, call the cancellation handler. If the user wants to reschedule, call the reschedule handler. Okay. If no specific intent is found, provide general schedule. If any error occurs, log it and return helpful message to the user like error handling calendar request, I encountered an issues with the scheduling system like that, and handle booking request. Availability check, cancellation हो गया, reschedule हो गया. Now handle this part, handle booking request. Now this function doesn't book directly but tells the user what information is needed next. Okay. And check if the calendar is available or not. That is all about this. Handle the calendar. Okay. Now come to the rack enhance response. Listen, this is the code logic for answering question using the knowledge base, and in this I'm going to talk about inside this. Always check for a calendar. Always check for a calendar intent first, as it is a specified high priority task. If it is a calendar request, handle it immediately and return the response. Second priority is RAG knowledge base. If the RAG engine isn't available, return to call back to the basic LLM. If no, self RAG log if the RAG engine not available using callback response. Use a default session ID if none is provided, and then perform the RAG search the knowledge base and generate an answer based on the finding keyword. Context can be added here for more advanced. If the RAG engine found an answer, log that RAG was successfully and what sources were used. Okay. This function adds conversation transition to make the response sound more natural. And there is also an helper function inside this at the last of this. Onto the Backend system wrapper. This is a RAG enhanced session wrapper. This is a clever design pattern to add our custom RAG logic into the standard live kit agent session. Okay. This it stores the original session and agent instance. Save a reference to the original generate reply method and override the session generate reply method with our own custom version. Now whenever the framework calls generate reply, it will run our custom code first. Okay. Track API uses to avoid hitting rate limit. I used API. Okay. Track API uses extract last user message. This function accesses the list of messages in the chat context, look through the message in the reverse to find the most recent user message. And that's all for this enhanced session. Now come to the application entry point and execution. This is the application entry point and for execution. This is where the application is launched and connected to live kit. This is a good place to initialize heavy component like the knowledge base, etc. Unified knowledge base. Create an instance of our main agent class. Set the session ID from the live kit to the context for tracking. Create a standard agent session. this create session agent component with transcript handling. Okay, and this function send transmit to the front end. And wrap the standard session with our backend wrapper to add custom logic, and we connect to the live room with the timeout and entry logic for robustness, and start the session which connect all the component in main processing module, generate the initial greeting message, attempt to generate initial greeting message, then if the LLM false, use a simple pre-written fallback, and if the initialization completely log the error. Get started open server. Useful if you have a web frontend for testing. That's for open frontend for, and use the live kit command line interface helper to run the application worker, and tell the worker which function to call new job. Tell the worker which function to run the pre-warm the process. This is the standard Python interrupt function. It ensures that main function is called only when the script is executed directly. Okay, this is the quick overview of my main backend file, and as we can see that there are lots of files in my backend, but this is the main file that I explained to all of you, and this is test file where during the development I use for this for testing. So I thought that I should put in repository also. And this configuration, first of all, I try to deploy it on Railway, but due to some RAM constraint and CPU for free uses, I will not able to deploy on Railway. I tried to render, but that's also failed. Okay, and this is a docs files where I store my markdown files. Nothing important in this full data. This is important where I put all my PDF frequently asked questions. That's it for backend.